All right, guys, so one thing that I want to go over, which helps every beginner, and it's a huge part of your fundamentals, is 5 things you don't want to do inside the closed guard. When you're inside the closed guard, the person has a lot of attacks, but you want to make it as hard as you can for that person to have any options. If I'm inside his legs and I'm reaching, or I'm putting my hands on the mat, or I'm leaning back, those are gimmies. He doesn't need a setup. He doesn't really need much to work with. You're giving the submission, or you're giving the sweep to that person. So if you follow these guidelines of 5 things that you shouldn't do while you're inside the closed guard, you're going to have a lot more success when it comes to passing. What happens is when somebody's frustrated, they're forcing techniques, they're pushing things that aren't there, that's when you're going to have openings. If I want an arm very bad, and I'm not as experienced as somebody with more patience, I'm going to start throwing up sloppy technique. If that person's not reaching, if they're not giving me that arm bar and I'm forcing it, my technique is going to be very bad. They're going to have the opportunity and the opening to pass, and that's what you want to try to make happen. So let me go over some of those with you. So we're going to work here. Right here, I'm in Grant's closed guard. There's going to be a couple things that you just visually will know aren't right. You might be starting out in jiu-jitsu. This is something that you really need to take with you all the way until black belt. First one, I like to tell people, this is the first one because it's the most common. You have to keep your hands off the mat. So if somebody puts the hands on the mat, this is the one thing that you should really be worried about, is because it's the submission, but there's a lot of options. This is a quick and easy submission. So if I go here and I just think I'm too strong, my hands are on the mat, he can go ahead and throw that kimura on me, right? Right? There wasn't much to that. That was probably a 2 to 3 step transition he did, and he got the submission. So I gave that to him. He didn't set it up. There wasn't much he had to do. I gave it to him. Another thing that happens, number 2, you'll see this all the time. Maybe they came to a couple jiu-jitsu classes and they may have learned a cross choke or a key lock, and they think, well, they don't really evaluate the position. My goal inside the closed guard is to pass. And what you'll see is, oh, you know what, I want to choke him. And he's reaching, or I'm reaching. And when somebody reaches, it's a gimme. Go ahead. Right? I'm giving him that arm bar. He didn't have to do much to set it up, just get his hips in the right positioning. And that's what you need to notice. That was a gift. And a lot of times I'll see you guys rolling, and a person's reaching, they're reaching. 20 seconds later, they're still reaching. Inside the gym, that's when you're practicing this stuff. The mistakes are going to be made constantly. So, if somebody's reaching the closed guard, go for it, arm bar. It doesn't get any easier than that. Number 3, this one's a big one. You'll see this a lot, especially when somebody maybe pumps a lot of iron and they think they're very strong. You'll see this, is they're not sure about the rule. 2 inside the guard or 2 outside the guard. So you'll see a lot of people, maybe this one will stay here, and they'll just grab this leg and they want to throw it over. And once they get here, right, I'm going to get triangle. All right, so that's a huge rule of thumb. Go ahead and open up your legs for me. If it's an open guard, I'm either 2 out, or if I'm engaging, it's 2 in. The second that I start going like this, I'm giving him a triangle choke. So that's number 3. And the reason why those are the first 3 and the top 3 that you should remember is they result in submissions. My hands on the mat, you result in getting kimura'd. If I reach, I'm probably going to get armbarred if the person knows what they're doing. If I start digging inside the legs with one arm, I'm more than likely going to get triangled. These last 2 are very important because you're losing top position, right? And even though jiu-jitsu teaches you should be able to fight off your back and be, competent off your back, being on top is number 1. So from here, what you'll get is, maybe, okay, I'm not reaching, my hands aren't on the mat, but I'm not engaging, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to back up. I don't want to engage. I break 90, right? I should have good posture the whole time, but when I break 90, I'm welcoming him to bump me, right? And I give up my position. So when you're inside this closed guard, your goal is to have nice straight posture. When I start leaning back, I'm giving the person the opportunity to bump sweep me right into mount. right into one of the best positions he can be in. So it's very important to not break 90, to not lean back. And it goes the opposite as well. I find good posture. I don't just bury my head in his chest and hope it all goes away. A good guard player, Grant has a good closed guard. If I just hope it all goes away, I'm probably going to get swept or submitted. So number 4 is don't lean back. Number 5 is you'll see this, leaning forward. They might hug the head and lean forward here. Now from here, all he does is get his hips out, position, right to a pendulum sweep, right? So this is something that you need to make sure you understand. When you're inside that closed guard, any of those 5 are avoidable. You're giving those submissions, you're giving those sweeps to your opponent or to your training partner, and without giving it to them, you make it harder, you make the transitions harder, you make the roll a little bit more intelligent, and that's what you want to look for. Thank you.